I'm Marcus Smith, and this is Constant Wonder. Every day this month, Constant Wonder has been on a journey called Advent. Our calendar has brought a daily chance to open a new door on the wonder and awe so meaningful during this special season. In this episode, for December 24th, we'll shed some Christmas light in a quite unexpected way, with an intimate story of something that happened at the intersection of nature, living, loving, and the divine. Back on day 14 of our Advent journey, we spoke with nature writer Gail Boss about learning from the animals, reading these creatures, as she explained, as if they were a sacred text. In that same vein, we're going to hear now from another of our favorite guests on Constant Wonder, Cy Montgomery. Cy has been all over the world interacting with creatures from hummingbirds to emus to octopuses. She's known as an animal writer, watcher, helper extraordinaire. In 2018, we interviewed her about her book, How to Be a Good Creature, a memoir in 13 animals. In that conversation, she told us how one snowy Christmas morning, right in her backyard, she received a life-changing lesson from a weasel.
It was an ermine, the white-coated winter version of a weasel, who had just killed one of the chickens who I loved and had known since a tiny baby chick, who taught me forgiveness.
I want the story now. You just don't say, an ermine taught me forgiveness and leave it there.
Well, the story takes place on a Christmas morning. And
okay, stop that. Don't make it Christmas morning. Make it any other day but Christmas morning.
It was. It was Christmas, and every Christmas I bring a big heaping bowl of hot popcorn to my chickens because they love that. And why not go off to the barn on Christmas Day? That's where Jesus was, essentially, in a barn. It's a good place to start Christmas Day, right?
Okay, you won me over.
I go in with my popcorn for my girls, my ladies, and one of them's dead on the floor. And I know all of my chickens from the point that they're like 2 days old, and I raise them as baby chicks in my office, and they're nestling in my sweater and sitting on my head, and they come when I call, and they greet me like I'm the Beatles when I get out of my car. I love them. They're all individual. They're great individuals that I love. So here's someone I love who is dead on the floor. So what happened? So I go to pick her up by her legs, and her head's wedged in the corner, and I go to pull her out of the corner. I can't pull her up. Something's got a hold of her head. So I pulled, and I finally got her loose. And out from a hole in the corner pops this white head with coal black eyes and a pink nose with blood on it. And this was an ermine, a weasel who had gotten into the hen house and killed my chicken. And you would have thought, since I love this chicken, that I would hate that weasel. But looking at that weasel, all I could think of was what a gorgeous creature it was and how brave. These things weigh as much as a handful of coins. And there I was standing there, 120 pounds of scariness, and it was staring me down, like to say, give me back my chicken. Of course, I thought it was my chicken, but as far as the weasel was concerned, I had just taken its chicken. And all I could feel for that animal was love and admiration. The animal's beautiful coat was as white as the shining raiment of an angel. And the ferocity of that animal to take down a chicken, which is much bigger than itself, and to look at me as if to say, get out of here, I'm taking my chicken back, when I was a monster, I felt nothing but admiration. And you know what? It reminded me of my mother, who had died earlier that year. And my mother had had a lot of issues with me. She and my father, but mainly my mother, disowned me for marrying my husband, who is Jewish, much like Jesus. And I was their only child. And she had been sometimes angry with me. When I was a child, a fit of anger my aunt told me that when my mother was very angry, she had shaken me and given me a brain injury when I was a small child. So she had an anger issue. But looking at that beautiful weasel and seeing its pure strength and ferocity and fearlessness, that it was only doing what it had to do, it reminded me of my mother's own ferocity and the beauty of some of that. My mother had grown up in Arkansas poor, and she had gone to college, graduated as valedictorian, learned to fly a plane, gone to work for the FBI, and married a bird colonel who later became a brigadier general. She had everything in her life, and she had gone out and gotten that because she had the single-minded determination of that weasel. And in that moment, I realized how much I still loved my mother and how much I missed her, and completely forgave everything that had come between us.
A first-person account from Cy Montgomery. Sheep and camels, cardinals on a snowy pine bough, maybe penguins and polar bears. For me, these are far more likely candidates from the animal kingdom for us to associate with Christmas. But I will long remember Cy's life-changing encounter one Christmas morning with a snow-white ermine. Thanks for listening to Constant Wonder on this final official day of Advent. Our calendar, of course, has one last door for us to open, the door for Christmas Day, so please do join us again tomorrow for one last insight into the awe and wonder of the Christmas story. Our guest in this episode, nature writer Cy Montgomery, is author of many books, including How to Be a Good Creature, a memoir in 13 animals, and the story we've just heard from her is found in that volume. Eric Schultzke was producer for this episode with help from Camden Lamb. Previous installments in this series are all available at byuradio.org, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Marcus Smith. Constant Wonder is a production of BYU Radio.